Hello, and welcome to Let's Heal Together, where we explore the intricate tapestry of relationships and touch on the emotions that shape our connections with others. I am Doc Steph, your host and fellow explorer in the world of emotions and human relations. In this episode, we will discuss a topic that is all too familiar for many of us: relationship discontent and dislike. We have all experienced those moments when something just does not feel right in our relationships, leaving us with a lingering sense of discomfort or unease in the presence of certain people. These feelings might indicate signs of discontent or even dislike. It is an essential feature of our emotional landscape that deserves attention and understanding. Relationships are integral to our lives, bringing us joy, support, and love. However, just like any other aspect of life, they can also experience challenges. So, we will discuss the impact of discontent and dislike on our emotional well being and relationship dynamics. We will uncover common signs that may suggest someone does not quite like us or that our relationship is experiencing strain. But fret not, this discussion is not about dwelling on the negative. It is about gaining insights into our emotional landscape and empowering ourselves with knowledge. We will shed light on the behaviors that may indicate dislike in relationships. We will also learn to circumvent these challenges and encourage healthier communication and connection. Self awareness is the key to understanding our emotions and relationships better. By recognizing the signs of discontent, we can proactively address them and create more robust, fulfilling connections. So, together, let's explore the subtleties of relationship discontent and dislike. Get ready for eye opening insights and strategies to enhance your emotional well being and understanding of the relationships that matter most. Let's start with the impact of dislike on relationships. Okay, discontent and dislike in relationships can profoundly affect emotional well being and relationship dynamics. Understanding these effects is crucial in recognizing the importance of addressing and resolving negative emotions within our relationships. So, here are a few key aspects to consider. One, emotional well being, anxiety and stress. Discontent and dislike can lead to heightened anxiety and stress levels for both people in a relationship. Constant negative emotions can create a tense and emotionally draining atmosphere. Then you have low self esteem. If one or both people feel disliked or unappreciated, it can negatively impact their self esteem and self worth, leading to feelings of inadequacy and self doubt. Depression. Prolonged feelings of discontent and emotional distance can contribute to sadness and depression, affecting overall mental health. Number two, communication breakdown. Limited openness. Dislike can hinder open and honest communication between partners. People may avoid discussing their feelings or concerns, leading to unresolved issues and misunderstandings. And then you have negative communication styles. Discontent can manifest in negative communication patterns such as criticism, defensiveness, or stonewalling. These patterns erode trust and emotional connection. Number three, emotional distance, loss of intimacy. Dislike can create emotional distance between partners. decreasing emotional intimacy and connection. Then you have lack of support. Emotional distance may result in partners feeling unsupported or emotionally disconnected from each other during challenging times. Now, I may mention partners, but this could be friends, family members. All of this is related to just relationships in general. So then we go to number 4, decreased relationship satisfaction, reduced happiness. Persistent discontent and dislike can diminish individuals' overall happiness and satisfaction. Okay, and in the impact on commitment, feeling dislike or discontented may weaken individuals' commitment to the relationship, potentially leading to doubts about its long-term viability. And then we have number 5, last but not least, impact on other areas of life. This is the impact. 1, it affects well-being beyond the relationship. Discontent and dislike can spill over into other areas of life, impacting personal and professional well-being. And then you have parent and family life. Negative emotions in the relationship can affect parenting dynamics and family cohesion for couples with children. That's if you're in an intimate relationship. So these effects are not definitive for every relationship or partnership because each is unique. However, recognizing the potential consequences of discontent and dislike can encourage us to proactively address and resolve any underlying issues. To promote healthier relationship dynamics, we should aim to communicate openly, express our feelings and needs, and work together towards understanding and resolving sources of discontent. We can pave the way, for a more fulfilling relationship by addressing and resolving discontent and dislike. So here's my personal experience in relationships. Different. I'll give you examples of different types of relationships. So once upon a time, I had a friend with whom I shared laughs, dreams, and aspirations. But after every conversation, a lingering feeling of inadequacy would gnaw at me. She started as a celebration of friendship. What started as a celebration of friendship between a series of demeaning remarks disguised as light-hearted banter. My accomplishment, like earning my doctorate, were met with derogatory comments about educated individuals, leaving me hurt and unheard. And this was an individual that a friend, that I shared my spiritual life with. So yeah, it was very helpful. And then, I had another friend, while supportive, lacked decisiveness. Every hangout was met with the same refrain, I don't know. Ooh, that just bothers me. Kind of bugs me a little. I could say a lot. It felt like I was the sole entertainer in our relationships. In our relationship, making all the decisions and carrying the weight of making our time together enjoyable. Going out dancing became a source of worry rather than joy, as I was constantly concerned about her enjoyment while sacrificing my own. I just, although she enjoyed being out, it just still, if you feel like you're having a good time and the other person isn't, it kind of makes the enjoyment of being out together a little unbalanced. And then my boyfriend at that time, a good man who treated me well, we could talk for hours on end, exploring the depths of our thoughts and emotions. But as time passed, I felt like something was missing in our relationship. It was as if I could not see the real him. He remained shrouded in mystery. I questioned him about this, seeking an explanation, but his answer left me even more perplexed. He wanted to see me or how I acted outside of my element, pushing me to be someone I was not. Then he uttered the words that struck me to my core. He said, "I love you, but I don't like you." Those words echoed in my mind, leaving me with a puzzle to solve. What did he truly mean, and what could I do about it? It was not about changing him, but understanding myself and finding my own happiness. Okay, so as I ventured into self discovery, I realized that these relationships had a common thread: discontent. Each connection brought its own challenges, revealing the importance of recognizing the signs of discomfort and misalignment. It was time to take charge of my emotional well being and address the patterns that left me feeling unfulfilled. Through introspection and open dialogue, I began to find the strength to navigate these waters. I learned to stand up for myself, express my needs, and see connections that nourished my soul. It was not an easy road, but a path towards genuine happiness and authentic relationships. And so my personal experience became a mechanism for growth and transformation. I discovered the power of self awareness, the value of open communication, and the excuse me, significance of supporting those who uplifted and celebrated me for who I truly was. As the chapters of my story unfolded, I realized that recognizing and addressing discontent was not about finding fault in others, but honoring myself and developing connections that align with my heart's desires. I was looking for authenticity, and along the way, I discovered a love and appreciation for the person I had become. So just think about that in all of your relationships, friendships, partners, or whatever. Discontent and dislike seeps over into all relationships. And here are some common signs of discontent and dislike. Avoidance and emotional distance are common signs of someone experiencing dislike or discontent in a relationship. These behaviors can manifest in various ways and have different underlying reasons. Let's take a look at these signs and the possible reasons behind them. So I'm going to give you the ups and the downs, okay? So the first one is avoidance and distance. Emotional avoidance. When someone avoids engaging in emotional conversations or sharing their feelings, it could be an indication of dislike or discontent. They may shy away from discussing important topics, avoiding vulnerable and intimacy in the relationship. Avoiding vulnerability and intimacy in the relationship. And then you have social avoidance. Avoiding spending time with the other person, counseling plans frequently, or declining meeting invitations may signify discomfort or dissatisfaction in a relationship. Okay, number 2, possible reasons for avoidance. So this is the downside. Fear of conflict. The person may fear confrontations or disagreements, leading them to avoid potentially challenging conversations to maintain peace. It may not be the other person. We may also do the same thing. Avoid certain conversations or topics with certain people, just to keep the peace. I know I have done that with certain people, And then you have unresolved issues. Avoidance might be a coping mechanism to hide unresolved issues or negative feelings they do not know how to address. Okay? And then loss of interest. That's another one. If someone has lost interest in the relationship, They may distance themselves emotionally and physically. And you may have some friends that have like ghosted you, or, in a relationship, you see that they're pulling away from you. So let's move on to number 3, emotional distance. Limited emotional connection. Emotional distance is characterized by a lack of emotional intimacy and connection with the other person. They may seem distant or indifferent, making connecting on a deeper level challenging. Okay, and then we have reduced communication. Less frequent or meaningful communication can signify emotional distance, possibly weakening the bond. So here's the downside. Number 4, possible reasons for emotional distance. Here's the downside or upside, however you look at it. That's built up resentment, unaddressed grievances, or unresolved conflicts can lead to emotional distance as the person may harbor negative feelings. And then protective mechanisms. Emotional distance might be a way to shield them from potential hurt or disappointment in the relationship. And then we have personal issues. External stressors or personal struggles might cause emotional distance as individuals deal with their challenges internally. It is essential to approach these signs I have just given you with empathy and open communication. Because remember, you may be the person displaying this stuff, or it may be the person that you have a relationship with. So either way, I hope this helps in both cases. So sometimes avoidance or emotional distance can be temporary reactions to personal struggles or life circumstances. However, if these behaviors persist and significantly affect the relationship, addressing them openly and honestly is crucial to work towards a resolution. Honest and compassionate communication, I cannot stress enough, is vital to address avoidance and emotional distance in a relationship. Initiating an open dialogue allows both individuals to express their feelings and concerns, fostering understanding and potential resolution of underlying issues. So, just to give you some examples, this is my personal experience. I'm still going to talk about my relationship. So, maybe you could find yourself in this or you've been through this. But this is me personally. I had a friend who I'd known since our carefree childhood days. Despite the years of friendship, she remained a mystery, guarded like a precious secret. Our conversations felt superficial, lacking the emotional depth of I craved. It was as if she kept her true feelings locked away, making it challenging for me to empathize with her experiences. In times of hardship, I expected her to be devastated, to lean on me for support and comfort. But her stoic demeanor left me wondering if she trusted me enough to share the weight of her emotions. I was like tiptoeing around in an intricate puzzle, trying to unlock the door to her heart. As our friendship matured, I began to understand the complexities of her guarded nature. She wasn't closing me out, but taking her time to open up. It wasn't that she didn't trust me, she just needed time to navigate her own feelings. Then I had another friend who had a peculiar habit that puzzled me. Periodic ghosting. How many of you all experienced that? I would reach out to her and there would be silence on the other end. The void left by her absence tugged at my heart, leaving me feeling disconnected and concerned for her well-being. In an effort to bridge the gap, I voiced my feelings, hoping to shed light on the impact of her actions. But to my surprise, she continued to send sporadic hi texts. leaving me with more questions than answers. The frustration threatened to sever our friendship as I questioned whether she truly valued our connection. So it was only later that I discovered the truth behind her behavior. She confided in me about her battles with anxiety and how personal issues left her emotionally overwhelmed. In those moments, she shut down, seeking, solace in solitude to protect herself from further distress. Her actions were not a reflection of our friendship, of our friendship's worth, but rather a coping mechanism to shield herself from the world's demands. And so I held this newfound understanding, recognizing that sometimes she needed space and time to navigate her inner struggles. These experiences taught me that common signs of relationship discontent are not always what they seem. Guarded emotions can call for patience and empathy, a plea for understanding rather than judgment. Other connection paths are unique, and the journey may be filled with twists and turns as we unveil the layers of our heart. So if the relationship is worth it, then you would take the time to try to understand the other person. So, dear listeners, may my experience remind you that signs of discontent are not always apparent at first glance. Approach your relationships with an open heart and willingness to understand and grow. Through compassion and acceptance, we forge deeper connections, unlocking the essence of our most treasured relationships. As I unravel the complexities of my relationships, I am reminded that beneath every emotion lies a story waiting to be heard. So what I'm saying is that even, in my relationships, we have to also remember the reverse side of how they are approaching our relationships, approaching us. We may have some issues too, so there's no need for judgment. In some cases, we may need a little bit more patience in order to understand the other person and for the other person to understand us. So it's a two-way street, you guys. So, but let me also pull out some red flags for discontent. Certain red flags can emerge in the intricate dance of relationships, gently urging us to pay attention to the dynamics at play. Let's dig into 3 specific red flags that may indicate underlying discontent in a relationship. The first one is constant criticism. Constant criticism can erode the foundation of a relationship, chipping away at emotional bonds and creating a toxic atmosphere. When one partner continually finds fault with the other's actions, appearance, or choices, it can lead to feelings of inadequacy and resentment. Some signs to look out for. Okay. Harsh and judgmental language directed towards the partner's behavior or character. We may do this, or they may do that to us. Or a lack of appreciation for the partner's efforts leads to feelings of unvalue. So if you're doing that, you're undervaluing your partner or friend, and vice versa. Persistent focus on negative aspects of the relationship, overshadowing positive moments. So celebrate those positive moments, or hopefully your friend or partner celebrates positive moments with you. So constant criticism can lead to emotional distancing and a communication breakdown. It can negatively affect self-esteem and self-worth, leaving the criticized person feeling demoralized and unloved. The criticized person may become defensive, leading to escalating conflicts. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Neglecting quality time. Spending quality time together It's vital for nurturing emotional intimacy and connection. Um, when we neglect to invest time and effort in our relationships, it can lead to emotional distance and feelings of neglect. Here are some signs to look out for. Constant lack of interest in spending time together, opting for individual pursuits. You do your thing and I'll do my thing, and nowadays we call it you do you and I'll do me. That's neglect. Frequent cancellations or rescheduling of planned activities without valid reasons. And, I had a friend who does that too. But then again, I got to understand her later. Engaging in separate hobbies and interests without involving the other person. Neglecting quality time can lead to feelings of loneliness and isolation, affecting emotional closeness. It can breed resentment as one partner or person may feel their needs and desires are not prioritized. Lack of shared experiences can lead to a sense of growing apart over time. And especially in friendships, this can happen often in friendships where the person, maybe you consider them like your closest friend, and you find out that they went out and enjoyed themselves with other people, whereas normally your closest friend normally invites you, but this time you're not invited. And so you begin to feel a certain way, resentment, begin to feel bad, then you start wondering whether or not you've done something, if they did something, you're basically trying to figure out what's going on and what's up with that. Why did they do that? But sometimes we just need to have an open communication and try to validate our feelings and discuss it with the other person. Number 3, emotional infidelity. It involves, forming deep emotional connections with someone outside the primary relationship, leading to a breach of trust and emotional intimacy. Some signs to look out for. Sharing intimate thoughts, feelings, and experiences with someone other than your closest friend or partner. And I think this basically relates to intimate partners. Seeking emotional support or validation from someone else rather than from the partner. And then engaging in secretive communication with another person that is not disclosed to the partner. All of that is suspect. Trying to figure out what's going on with the other person, or if we're doing that. So emotional infidelity can shatter trust and create emotional distance between partners. So this is in more intimate relationships. It can lead to feelings of betrayal and insecurity, causing emotional turmoil. If not addressed, emotional infidelity can escalate into physical infidelity, further damaging the relationship. So recognizing these red flags is an opportunity for open and honest communication. Addressing the underlying issues with empathy and a willingness to work together can lead to healing and positive growth in a relationship. Because sometimes we may not realize that we are dismissing other people's feelings and vice versa. You may be on the other end of this. So if a friend or a partner says, I don't like what you just did, and let's say you dismiss it and go, oh, you all in your feelings, because you think that whatever happened was not at that level, something that they should have, discontent about, or dislike. But they do. Everyone's feelings is valid and they matter. So we have to be careful of dismissing other people's emotions or feelings or dislike and just have a discussion with them. And maybe you can explain it in a manner that's not so compromising to the relationship. So remember, relationship require effort and commitment from both people. Identifying and addressing red flags with compassion and understanding can pave the way for deeper emotional intimacy and more fulfilling connection. It is through knowledge and healing that relationships flourish and thrive. Okay, so let's move on. Let's talk about self-reflection and addressing discontent. Let's talk about this. When discontent seeps into the fabric of our relationships, it can be an unexpected invitation to self-reflection and personal growth. Understanding our own emotions, needs, and communication patterns can be the key to unlocking positive change and fostering deeper connections. While discontent may originate from others in our relationships, we cannot control their feelings. What we can do, however, is seek to understand and improve ourselves. Discontent and dislike in relationships can be a complex interplay of emotions. It may arise from a myriad of factors, including miscommunications, unmet expectations, or even unresolved personal issues. Acknowledging that relationships involve two individuals with unique perspectives and feelings is the first step towards a more empathetic approach. While it's natural to be affected by the attitudes and actions of others, the locus of control lies within ourselves. Instead of fixating on external factors, directing our energy towards self improvement can be more fruitful. By understanding our triggers, emotional responses, and communications tendencies, we equip ourselves to navigate challenges with greater resilience. You know, so here's a few. One, acknowledge and validate your feelings. That's number one. Begin by acknowledging the emotions you are experiencing without judgment. It is essential to validate your feelings, recognize that they are valid and deserve attention. Remember what I was just saying about, we could feel like we've been dismissed because our feelings doesn't matter. So by accepting your emotions, you create a safe space for self-exploration. So also, we question ourselves. Why am I feeling this way? Why am I... Okay, that's a good thing. Question it. Why are you feeling like you do? I would not say dismiss it. There may be a really good reason why you feel the way you do in that moment, and address it. Validate it and address it. Just acknowledge it. I'm feeling this way and I need the understanding. Number two, identify the root causes. Take a deeper look at the root causes of your discontent. Reflect on past experiences, triggers, and unmet needs that may be influencing your current emotions. Understanding the underlying reasons can provide clarity and direction for addressing the issues. Again, self-reflection. Thinking about asking yourself these questions and, seriously trying to find the answer. Number three, open communication. Initiate honest conversations with your partner, family member, or friend about your feelings and concerns. Express yourself in a non-blaming and non-accusatory manner. Compassionate communication can bridge gaps and foster understanding. Number four, practice active listening. Ooh, it's hard for some people to do that. It's hard for some people to actively listen to their perspectives as well. Listen to others' perspective as well. Create a safe space for them to share their thoughts without interruption. Seek to understand their viewpoint and validate their emotions as well. When we cut people off while they're talking and we supposed to be having a conversation, conversations is two ways. One has to listen while the other talk, and the other listen while the other talk. So we have to, it's a two-way street. And actively listening does not mean allowing that person to talk, but at the same time, you're not hearing them because you're already formulating a response in your head. Actively listening means listening to that person, assuring them that you heard them. If you have to, repeat what you think they are saying. That way, you can respond better. Not coming up with your own opinion before they even finish their train of thought. Listen and hear them out and think about what they're trying to tell you so that you can respond better. Okay, let's move on to number 5. Set boundaries and prioritize self-care, which I always talk about almost in every episode. Establish healthy boundaries to safeguard your emotional health and protect the relationship from negativity. Prioritize self-care to nurture your emotional well-being. Engage in activities that bring joy, relaxation, and fulfillment. Just like I had expressed before, having a friend that every time I talked to her, I would get off the phone feeling bad about myself, or something like that. So that becomes a time where I have to guard myself, give her a break, give her some space, give her some time. I have to move away, giving myself some time as well, because of the negativity that's building up. And trying to force and engage will only prolong the negativity. So I give her space during those times, and as I address the issue. And number 6, seek empathy and understanding. Cultivate empathy by putting yourself in the other person's shoes. Consider their experiences and emotions to gain insight into their point of view. Understanding their point of view can bridge that gap again. And number 7, make time for shared activities. Invest in shared activities and experiences that nurture, your relationship, your bond. Engaging in enjoyable activities together can rekindle emotional intimacy and create lasting memories. Now, speaking of that friend again, what I would do is after I've given her space and myself time, I may reach out to her again. And since I said this is a spiritual friend that I enjoy sharing spiritual things about, I will call and we would talk about God or spiritual things and stuff we have recently experienced, or scriptures that we wanted to go deeper into conversation about, her well-being, anything to because first of all, we live far apart, so I can't just go visit her. So we spend a lot of time on the phone talking, engaging over the phone. But we still share activities together because we have good laughs and jokes and good times together. So discontent in relationships can feel disheartening, but it can also serve as an opportunity for growth and transformation. Addressing discontent in relationship requires vulnerability, patience, and a commitment to growth. Working towards personal improvement enables us to navigate challenging situations with grace and wisdom. As we aim for greater understanding of ourselves and others, we lay the groundwork for cultivating more fulfilling connections in our lives. By engaging in self-reflection and taking proactive steps to address discontent, we can create a foundation for healthier relationships. So grab a hold of the power of self-awareness and open communication. For it is through these strategies that relationships can flourish and thrive, nurturing emotional intimacy and deepening the bond between others. So once again, everything is not always about us, how we feel, how we do, because we could be doing something to cause some damage in our relationships. So we have to see it from both angles, and definitely self-reflection will help on that, or giving that person time or space, or just plain old, let's have an open conversation. Let's talk about this. How I am feeling, and then even if you feel it coming from that person, address it and say, hey, what's going on with you? Every time something like this happens or that happens. So addressing it is definitely a good way to save your relationships. So now let's go into seeking solutions for healthy communications. And some of these may sound redundant, but some of these are worth repeating. So navigating, conversations about discontent requires a delicate balance of empathy, vulnerability, and effective communication. By approaching these discussions with a constructive and empathetic mindset, we create a space for open dialogue and deeper connections. So here are 7 strategies to help us navigate these conversations in a positive and impactful way. These are just suggestions, so you can do things your way. However, make sure that you're delicate in addressing it. Number 1, choose the right time and setting. Ensure you have privacy and uninterrupted time to have the conversation. Pick a comfortable and neutral setting where both you and the other person can feel at ease and open to sharing. Number 2, begin with I statements. Frame your thoughts and feelings using I statements that reflect your emotions and perspective, rather than pointing fingers with you statements. For example, such as, I have been feeling, or I have noticed, or I feel hurt when, instead of you always. And some of us are very good at that. This approach prevents blame and helps the other person understand your emotions without feeling attacked. And that's how the conversation goes haywire. When we start you. Let's talk about me, and let them express how they feel or what's going on at that time. Number 3, avoid defensiveness. Stay mindful of your emotions during a conversation and avoid becoming defensive. Focus on understanding the other person's point of view rather than immediately responding. I have a sister who does that, and I feel like sometimes I'm walking on eggshells, but we have grown in our relationships where, we could talk and I could point some things out, and she could point some things out to me. She has no problem expressing herself about me, but I'm learning to address some of the things about her, because she does become defensive when you try to point out some things, or the way she talks to you, she becomes defensive, and that's her mechanism. But we are getting better, growing better in this relationship. So number 4, stick to the present issues. And this happens a lot. Focus on the current issue at hand and avoid bringing up past grievances. This happens so much in any relationship. Staying present in the conversation ensures clarity and prevents the conversation from spiraling into unproductive territory. So we do this all the time. If anyone says they doesn't, we do. And it goes back to I forgive, but I don't forget type thing. And some people wait for an opportunity to bring up old stuff. So if you didn't address it then, or you have addressed it, what's the point of bringing it into what's bothering us now, or what's bothering the other person now? Okay, so let's not do that. It's a bad thing that we do, and it's just dredging up stuff that don't even matter at this current time in a relationship. So number 5, stay solution oriented. While expressing your feelings is important, also be open to finding solutions together. Discuss possible ways to address the discontent and work towards a more positive outcome. And number 6, be mindful of nonverbal communication, because our body language can say so much. So we have to pay attention to our body language and tone of voice, during the conversation. Nonverbal cues can convey emotions and intentions to strive to communicate warmth and openness. So, I've known people, that they just loud. And I think they don't know how to express themselves any other manner. But it can come on as combative. You have a conversation with them and they get loud about it. And someone looking in on the conversation may think that, feel threatened. Or if this individual talks to someone else and they use the same, high-pitched tone, they're frustrated already, but they get louder and louder. It poses a threat to the person that's listening. But getting to know that person, they just loud. So sometimes we just have to remind him, and which we do all the time, why are you being so loud? Lower your voice. And sometimes all it needs, when you come across a person that's like that, or one of your friends or whatever, always remain the calm one. Just talk to them in a low pitched voice. Lower your voice. I understand how you're feeling. And I know this may frustrate you. When you do that, sometimes it works. Most of the time, often it works. It'll cause them to lower their voice, and when they lower their voice, they can think more clearer. Think with clarity, and engaging in the conversation. Number 7, the last one, take breaks if necessary. If emotions become overwhelming, it is okay to take breaks during the conversation. Give each other space to process feelings before reconvening. Like I said, I learned to give my friend her space that she need. And what I found lately, is as our relationship matured, is that she would come back and we would discuss. I'm like, how you feeling? What's going on with you? And then she allowed me time to talk about mine. And then she would tell me, what she'd been going through or whatever, as a listening ear. So, sometimes it's okay to take breaks. That's all I want to say. So approaching conversations about discontent with empathy and a constructive mindset lays the groundwork for nurturing healthier relationships. Creating an environment of understanding and vulnerability, we create space for growth, healing, and positive change. Remember, constructive communication is a journey that requires patience and practice. As we navigate these conversations with compassion and empathy, we forge stronger bonds with our loved ones and cultivate a deeper connection built on trust and mutual understanding. So now we're at that point of actionable steps. Choosing growth and self-improvement empowers us to navigate this discontent in relationships with greater resilience and grace. Addressing relationship discontent takes time and effort from both parties involved. Approach the situation with a willingness to understand and work through challenges together. Nurturing open communication and empathy can lead to positive resolutions, and it strengthens the foundation of the relationship. So the first, and these are like reminders or something that needs to be reiterated. Number one, self-reflection and open communication. Be honest with yourself about any negative emotions you may be experiencing and try, to identify the root causes. Once you have gained clarity, initiate open and honest communication with the other person involved. Choose a calm and appropriate time to express your feelings and concerns. Step number two, practice empathy and active listening. Seek to understand their point of view by actively listening without interruption or judgment. Be receptive of their emotions and experiences, even if they differ from your own. Lastly, step number three, set healthy boundaries and seek support. Assess the relationship dynamics and set healthy boundaries to protect your emotional well-being. If the signs of dislike persist, consider seeking support from a trusted friend, family member, or a professional counselor. Talking to someone neutral can provide fresh insights and guidance on how to address the discontent constructively, not only in intimate relationships, but also in your friendships or family members. The same applies. Reflection time. The first reflection, I love to give you a motivational and an inspirational prompt to your reflection on this episode of Relationship Discontent and Dislike. So the motivational one comes from Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. She said, "The most beautiful people we have known are those who have known defeat, known suffering, known struggle, known loss, and have found their way out of depths. These persons have an appreciation, a sensitivity, and an understanding of life that fills them with compassion, gentleness, and a deep loving connection. Beautiful people do not just happen." Love it. I love it. I love it. And then for our inspirational scripture, Romans 12:18, NIV version. "If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone." This verse reminds us of the importance of pursuing peace and reconciliation in relationships, even in the face of discontent or dislike. It encourages us to take responsibility for our actions and strive to maintain harmony with others to the best of our ability. Choosing to approach difficult situations with empathy and understanding can lead to healing and strengthen our connections with those around us. So, as we conclude this episode of navigating the complex terrain of relationship discontent and dislike, I would like to say that in the intricate web of relationships, discontent and feelings of dislike can occasionally cast a shadow on our connections with others. However, it is essential to recognize that such emotions are part of the human experience, and they present opportunities for growth and self-awareness. Remember, every relationship is a unique tapestry woven with threads of love, trust, and vulnerability. By recognizing the intricacies of discontent and dislike, we unravel the knots that hinder our connections and weave a more vibrant and harmonious bond. As we continue on our journey of understanding and compassion, may we embrace the challenges with courage and forge relationships that stand the best of time, built on a foundation of genuine love and mutual respect. So, dear listeners, may my journey serve as a reminder that acknowledging signs of discontent is not a weakness, but a pathway of self-discovery and meaningful connections. Embrace your story, cherish your growth, and let discontent lead you to the fulfilling relationships you deserve. And so allow it to continue, filled with newfound wisdom and a heart open to the responsibilities that lie ahead. For in this tapestry of life, every experience is a thread woven into the intricate story of who we are. And as we navigate the path of relationships, may we remember that our own well-being is the compass that guides us towards the most authentic and fulfilling connections of all. I hope these tips were helpful to you. Don't forget to leave a comment, share, like, or subscribe. As always, thanks for listening to Let's Heal Together, Relationship Discontent and Dislike. Peace and love.